right, can I have your attention, please? All right, can you please sit down? Let's get going here. It's a long night. I'm going to make it a short one. All right, I want to welcome all of you here tonight to the Hall of Fame banquet. The main purpose of this banquet is to honor former sports athletes, administrators, and anybody that was involved in sports in this area. All the money to this goes to a scholarship fund that funds the Philadelphia City High School All-Star Game. All the board members that are here, all the workers, no one gets paid. All this money goes into a fund, and we give scholarships every year. Last year we gave in excess of $15,000. So every year we just try to increase it. With that, I'm going to be short. We have a raffle table back there with items. If you can go back, purchase a ticket. All that goes into the scholarship fund. All the items back there are donated either from the Phillies, Flyers, Eagles, most of the pro sports teams in the city. We also have a membership and a lifetime membership, okay? At your dinner tickets on the back, if you could fill it out, you get put on a mailing list, and you need the stub on the bottom of that ticket to get a dinner. Okay, so when the waitress gives you dinner, she's going to ask for that stub. So if you could please fill it out. You don't have to, but we would like you to, so we can add you to the mailing list. With that, I'm going to bring up our host tonight, Mr. Dave Spadaro from the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's going to run and move this thing along for us tonight. Dave.
Thank you, Milt. Thank you, Milt. It's my honor to be here among these men and women here, and specifically the 12 men and 1 woman to be honored tonight, the inductees. I've made my living in professional sports, celebrating the good things about sports, and as a child being part of sports in the Philadelphia area, and really enjoying the great things. And tonight is a wonderful, wonderful night of accomplishment, and I'm really proud to be here and honored to be here. Thank you very much for that, Milt. I'd like to bring up Jim Murray, the Director of Athletics, the head soccer coach at St. Joseph's Prep. He will offer the invocation.
Blessed are you, Lord God of all creation, for it is through your goodness that we are gathered here this evening to honor and perpetuate the memory of the men and women who have brought lasting fame to the state of Pennsylvania through their athletic achievements. We are grateful for the blessings you have bestowed on us, athletes, coaches, officials, and administrators. And we ask you, God, to bless what we are about to eat and what we are about to do tonight, tomorrow, and always. Amen.
Thank you. One is the Philadelphia Eagles. The other is the Maxwell Football Club and Bob Clark and Ron Jaworski. And the other one is the Daily News. They do give us huge amounts of money for scholarships, and they've done it year in and year out. And just today, with the help of Derek Boyko, the head of PR, and he couldn't be here tonight because of something else, we worked out a deal for the next 5 years through the Eagles to get a good hunk of change. And I just want to thank them, along with Bob Clark and the Maxwell Club. Along with that, seems like when I get up here and talk, I only talk about money. Well, that's my main function, is go out and raise money. I want to thank all the football officials are here that came tonight. and the NFL people that came down from up in New York and God knows where for Tommy White. Back in the table back there's a helmet that Donovan McNabb signed for us. There's a jersey that Javon Kirsch signed for us. What's his name?
TKO.
We got a new guy, TKO Spikes. There's a helmet back there. What's that other guy's name? The hockey guy.
Oh, Desjardins. Eric
Desjardins. We got a hockey stick back there. This is my interpreter here for names that are hard to pronounce. So if you could purchase those raffle tickets through the course of the night, we're going to pull them. And how we're going to do it is we're going to pull the tickets by the award winners, and the first name out, you go back to the table, that's your first choice. And that's how we're going to eliminate all the items that we have back there. All this money goes to scholarships, and that's what this whole night is about, plus recognizing these great individuals. And later on in the evening, you'll hear all about them. There's a few here that are before my time, but they're all equal to today, yesterday, and tomorrow. So have fun, enjoy your dinner, and buy some raffle tickets. Thank you.
Before we introduce the inductees this evening, a couple of pieces of information that are important tonight. The president of the State Hall of Fame, Dr. Stanley Rakowski, was unable to make it tonight, so we'd like to recognize Joe D'Angelo, the Senior Vice President of the Southeastern Region, please. Joe, thank you. And while we're here tonight to honor the men and women up here, there's also 3 young men we'd also like to recognize as we are here tonight to celebrate sports and all the great achievements around sports. You know, we're inundated on a daily basis hearing about kids who've done the wrong things. And it's wonderful tonight to introduce you to 3 kids who did the right thing. Back in September, 3 Overbrook High School football players walking home after practice saw smoke, understood that there was something peculiar about this smoke. It was not a typical fire, it was not a barbecue, and instead of walking on by, as so many do in today's world, we're in such a hurry to get to the next place. These 3 young men went into a burning home on 56th and Girard Avenue and pulled out an 87-year-old woman, saved her life. The 3 young men are not here tonight, but we'd like to recognize them. And their names are Colleen Bridget, Youssef Bangura, and Marquise Carter, the head coach of Overbrook High's football team. Ken Sturm is here. Ken, if you could stand up and be recognized. Thank you. Each of the inductees tonight will receive a beautiful plaque. We'll speak to you for a few moments, and they'll also receive this letter from the City Council, City of Philadelphia, and I'll read the letter to you. Please accept my sincere congratulations on being inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. Your achievements were extraordinary, not only to your sport, but to your community. The responsibility and the pursuit of excellence that you have learned and taught through your experiences serve as an inspiration to all of those following in your footsteps. Again, I congratulate you for everything you have done for your alma maters and the sport in which you played. You have brought tremendous honor to Philadelphia. Best wishes for the future. Sincerely, Frank Rizzo. And now we get on to the inductees, the moment we've all been waiting for. Thanks for your participation, by the way, with the raffles. Our first inductee tonight certainly leads the dais in nicknames, among other things. During his time playing, and probably to this very day, he was called Joe, Joey, Joey B, Fishtown Joe, the Houdini of the hardwood, And it's a very special night for Joseph Belmont to be recognized here, to be recognized with one of his high school friends, longtime friend, his college teammate as well. At Northeast High School, he was a star. He was named the #1 player in the public league, and he was the city's leading scorer in 1951-52, was awarded the Marquard Memorial Most Valuable Player Award that year. Then he went on to college and enjoyed a great, an absolutely great career at Duke University. Today's numbers are inflated, and with the three-point shots and with the way they play basketball today, the high scores. This man was truly a superstar in his time, an All-American in 1955, 1956. He was named Duke's Most Valuable Player in his senior year. Joe Belmont left Duke as the school's second all-time leading scorer, 1,338 points in 103 games. Tremendous numbers, went on to play, was a referee, and comes back to Philadelphia tonight as one of our heroes. Please, let's welcome Joseph Belmont.
How are you folks this evening? And I am having a wonderful evening here. I've been out of town for 50 years, but this is nice to be back. When I got the call, I got all excited. I told my kids, and they were saying, well, why are you all worked up over this? You were in the Colorado Hall of Fame, and it was just another night. He says, yeah, but I'm in this Hall of Fame now in Philadelphia. That's where you learn everything at that early age. This is where I learned it all. I was taught. I had some people who took me under their wing. And you play on the streets and you learn, and all the athletes up here and out there, I can tell you we're homegrown. When I went to Denver, everybody was imported. And there are a lot of you guys out there now, who know that, because there are some of you who actually went to Denver. I am honored. This is the highest honor you can have, something from your hometown. Because, I can be honest with you, this is where it all began. And when you learn something in Philadelphia, you never forget it. And I learned it, and in my mind, I think I learned it well. And I tried to explain it to a lot of other people, and they're all out of Philly, and it's a lot harder. I can tell you that. And it was easier in here because, in my mind, the competition. Because all the people that were out there and are in this Hall of Fame that I played against a long time ago and with are in this as we go now. Tommy Gola, we got Hal Lear, you got Guy Rogers, Lou Pacillo. They go on and on and on and on. And there are other players who haven't been in yet who, hopefully someday will be. So you learn something here because of the other individuals that you play against and the people, the older people who coached and who helped you learn all these years. And you go elsewhere, and all you really do, is apply what you've learned other places. Because here is the hotbed of basketball, for one thing. And I'm truly honored. And so we've got an alarm clock here, and it almost went off. So I'm just going to say how much I appreciate this, and to thank you all for showing up tonight and helping the scholarship funds, and all the athletes up here at the table. And I truly appreciate it, and I thank you much.
Thank you. Here.
All right, thank you, Joe. Our second inductee this evening, Stan Lodi Brown, played on 2 championship teams at Southern High School in 1944-45 and in 1945-46. And at age 17, became a professional basketball player. Incredible. He played for the Philadelphia Warriors in 1947 and 1948, as well as the Warriors in 51 and 52. Unfortunately, Mr. Brown is unable to make it this evening. He did, however, send along this letter addressed to Mike Pollan, and I'll take a moment to read it. Dear Mike, I must apologize to you and the organization, as I will be unable to attend the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame because of poor health. Please extend my thanks to all of you who have supported my nomination and induction. I feel privileged to have been selected. Once again, my thanks as well as my congratulations to the other inductees. I am truly sorry that I will be missing this event. Accepting for Mr. Brown is Billy Escher. Billy is the president of the alumni. Billy?
I just want to tell one Lodi Brown story for those of you who grew up around my time. I just turned 80 years old, and this has been a great year for me. My kids gave me and my wife Louise a wedding present. It was fantastic. After it was all over, we went back home and we were sitting on the edge of the bed, and she said, "Billy, wasn't this great?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "You know, one of the things I really liked about you, you used to give me a little kiss on the cheek once in a while." So I said, "Okay." So I gave her a little kiss on the cheek. And she said, "No, the other thing, you used to pinch my ear a little bit." So I pinched her on the ear. And then she said, "Remember one thing? I used to like it most of all. You used to bite me a little bit on the neck." So I said, "Okay." So I got up and I started walking away. She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to get my teeth, honey." But Lodi Brown and I, we went up to Reading, and they had a kid by the name of Gernert. You remember him? He played with the Boston Red Sox too, in baseball. He's a terrific player. But anyway, I jumped center that night. The ball got kicked around. I picked it up and I ran and scored a field goal. And then Lodi scored the next 40 points. So when I went back to the corner the next day, they said, "How'd you do, Bill?" I said, "Lodi and I had 42 points between us." I didn't lie, did I? But anyway, this guy Brown in his day was just unbelievable. He had another year of eligibility at Southern High. Can you imagine what he would have done? He was only 17 years old. His father was dying of cancer, and probably he probably gave him a bonus of about $50 or something like that. But he did play with the Spas. He played with the Warriors, and I often wonder what he would have done if he had finished up his high school career or gone to college. But thank you for having me to accept this award. It's really nice. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Certainly go ahead. I'll read them all.
Oh, you're a better reader off.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Milt. Thank you.
All right, 2 more tickets. In our sporting arena, there are players, there are fans, there are coaches, and of course, there are officials. And tonight we're honored to have some officials here who have served this region and served this sport, every sport, extremely well. Tom Compton started his officiating career in 1969 worked his way up through the ranks as virtually every official does, high school level, college level, and the pinnacle, I would imagine, at least from a sports level, the NFL, was chosen for 2 national championship games, Pittsburgh State and Jacksonville State in college, was also in the Big East Conference, worked the Eddie Robinson Classic, the late Eddie Robinson. In 1998, Tom was selected the college official, he was selected the College Official of the Year, honored by the National Football Foundation of the College Hall of Fame. Also was part of the Conference USA, as coached, or rather as officiated through all the various regions in college football. Please welcome and honor Tom Compton.
Okay, guys, 2.
I will keep it brief. Joe wanted a couple of my minutes, so I let him have them. Congratulations to the fellow inductees. I'd like to thank the Philadelphia City All-Star Game Committee for nominating me and inducting me into the Hall of Fame and receiving this prestigious award. It's an honor to accept this award when so many other officials and former players, coaches have accepted this award also. I'd like to thank a couple people who helped me through my career in the early days. Bob Lutz Sr., who gave me a lot of opportunities, along with Milt Halstead, working the Sandlot games when I first started. Like Jim Carney in the Philadelphia Catholic League when I started in the Catholic League. And 2 of my mentors, who I considered great friends, working through the college ranks, Jim Riley and Jim Agizio, former officials in the Big East. And I'd like to thank my family for giving me the time to go away every weekend in the fall. And I'm sure they're glad to see me go most of the time. But just like to thank everyone. And once again, thank you very much for this honor and an induction into the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Kathy Daly is a legend at Temple University. I know this from experience, as I am a Temple University graduate as well. She earned seven varsity letters at Temple, 3 in field hockey, 4 in lacrosse, was the captain of both teams in 1980 and 1981, a first-team All-American in field hockey, led the Owls to a national title in lacrosse. She's coached since then, both boys basketball, lacrosse, and she's now the director of the Tina Sloan Green Scholarship Fund and founder of the Kathy Daly Penwood High School Scholarship. So just as important as playing in the field, she's given back to the sports world and to the kids and to the community. Let's please welcome Kathy Daly.
Thank you. I'll hold this.
I'd like to thank the City All-Star chapter of the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame for this wonderful honor. And I have 4 brothers, so this is not that big a deal for me to be the only girl up here. This is nothing new. So I'd like to thank them for coming. My husband, Richard, is here. Thank you. And it's great to be able to look back and think about those times on the field and to sit with all these gentlemen and just be amazed. Even though they played at Duke, it's it's okay, you know. It's still incredibly impressive. And you know, Blue Devils. So it's amazing to be up here with these folks and to be able to give back, again, a little bit about scholarship and to be able to give back to the youth that come up and for them to go out and play on the field, have opportunity, get an education, and go on and have careers and make lives in the city of Philadelphia. They are tough streets, the city of Philadelphia, and we learn a lot out here. And we can take a lot with us. So again, this is a remarkable honor. Thank you so much.
The other half of our, the great story here from Northeast High School, along with Mr. Belmont, Rudy D'Amelio, graduate of Northeast High School, January 1950, entered Duke University on a basketball scholarship, played on the freshman team, and then began a legendary varsity career at Duke, along with Dick Grote. Somebody named Dick Grote. Rudy's the special one from Philadelphia. A team captain in 1953, first team All-ACC in 1954, the Duke MVP in 1953. He's still ranked 50th on the Duke total points career list with 1,028, despite playing only 3 years there. And kind of adding a twist to show what kind of athlete he was, played soccer in his final year there and was selected All-ACC and All-South. The Philadelphia Warriors made Rudy their 5th draft pick in 1954, and instead of joining the Warriors, Rudy went on tour playing against the Harlem Globetrotters. Let's please welcome Rudy D'Amelio.
Get those too.
I'm honored to be inducted into the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame, and I congratulate all the other recipients. I would like to thank my high school coach for his patience and time coaching me, and I would also like to thank him for convincing Duke University to accept me as a player. As you mentioned before, I wasn't able to play as a freshman, but the freshmen used to scrimmage the varsity. It just happened to be my honor to guard Grote, who at that time, was All-American. He led this nation in scoring at the time, and was also a great baseball player. My sophomore year, I got to be opposite guard with him. I hope to think that I helped him get where he got. Sort of stuck here now. There were a couple of the guys on our team that were renowned players. You must all have heard of Lefty Driesell, who was the leading coach for Maryland. I had one beef with him. He wanted a coach one time. He wanted an assistant coach when he was at Davidson. I applied for the job, he wouldn't give it to me. He made a mistake. He would have won more games. Also, I think he's in the audience, those people, Dick Grote couldn't make it, neither could Lefty. But we have another player that used to be with us, or was with us, was Fred Chabel. He became an assistant coach for Duke after I left, and he also went on to coach at Connecticut, and he is now with Comcast Spectrum. I think Freddie's here. Freddie, would you stand up somewhere? Where's Freddie? Freddie Haynes. Again, I'm honored to be inducted, and I appreciate everybody that's come, and thank you very much.
That is a loaded table, you're right.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure here the last several minutes of speaking to the members here, the inductees. And one of the gentlemen I've kind of spent the most time with is Fran Doherty, and we all are honoring athletes and honoring those who we cheered on and who really gave the sporting world distinct flavor and distinct excellence in many different arenas. And I think what Fran has done in 48 years at North Catholic High School, 44 of them as a teacher and athletic director, is remarkable. Imagine how many kids he touched in 44 years, how many lives he changed, how many kids he mentored through tough times, through a generation, 2 generations of cultural differences in this country. Truly remarkable. And on his bio page here, you can read down the list of awards and committees and honors that have come his way over the years. The one that I circled was this: the Man of the Year of the Fathers and Mothers Association of Northeast Catholic, 1986. I think that is a distinction above all to be recognized by the mothers and the fathers of the kids with whom he guided for all those years. Let's please welcome Fran Doherty.
Okay, guys, 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I'd like to thank the committee. It's a little tacky if you look at the program. I'm on the committee. I did not vote for myself. I'd also like to congratulate our fellow honorees. I'll tell you what it's all about. I was standing up here earlier, and a fellow came up to me and said, "Can I talk to you for a minute? There's somebody I want you to talk to." And I said, "Sure." And I went down and he says, here's a phone number, talk to this man. I said, "Who is it?" He said, it's Al Angelo. And what makes that special is we all know that in this room, most of us, that Al's going through some tough times right now, or he'd be here tonight. But with the spirit of rivalry that North Catholic and Frankfurt has, there's still the respect, and I think that's what sports is all about. So I was really impressed about that. And, what else can you say, right? Tonight, I'm being honored, but I like to, for the 44 years that I've done something that I love, I'd like to acknowledge people that have been part of my life, that made it easy, I think, made a job that my wife is annoyed when I tell her I wouldn't change anything if I come back tomorrow. I really enjoy it. And so therefore, there's some people I like to acknowledge tonight if I could. First, I'd like to, as you well know, and you all here involved in sports, and this is my kind of crowd, and everybody in this room, I think we all know each other. You have to have a real loyal family, and for a wife to put up with you when you're involved with athletics, because there's that big thing you're missing, that is time, because you're spending time at the sport or at the school, whatever that may be. So I'd like to acknowledge my wife Eleanor, my son Fran, and my daughter Anne Marie for allowing me the opportunity to do something, like I said, that I dearly love. So I thank them for that. I also, thank you. I've been blessed with family at North Catholic. Some of the teachers are here tonight that I'd like to acknowledge. Our Vice Principal, Ernie Kochnick, Vince Toner, Frank Fideli, my department head, Bob Fitzsimmons, and you people are special tonight because Larry Connie just told me that Bob bought a round of drinks. That's the first round of drinks Bob's bought in his 68 years of his life. And I still don't believe it, but I'll get back and talk to them. There are also teacher coaches that are currently at North Catholic. Joe Ramsey, our bowling coach, Chuck Snyder, who's in track, Tony Costantino in basketball, and also Larry Connie, who Larry was inducted 2 years ago, and Larry, Bob Fitzsimmons, and I are the 3 members of the business department. And Larry always tells the story, whether it's here or at Keenan's in Wildwood, he tells the story that he's the baby of the business department. He has 40 years. So, we're a pretty special group. And of course, Larry was a special coach too when he coached baseball at North and LaSalle University and community college basketball. Also, my family of athletic directors that I spent all this time with. They're right here in the front, which Jim Murray got them the table. That's very nice. But John Rogers from Prendy, Bonner, Adam Butcher from Little Flower, Pat Berry from St. Hubert's, Dave Falcione from Roman, and two guys that I've been with all my life, and I think most people in this room know they're two incredibly great soccer coaches, both in this Hall of Fame in the Delaware Valley, George Tote and Jim Murray, who've done a great job for high school sports. My other family of people that used to be at North, okay, but are no longer there, that have been a part of my life that made me what I am today. And I'd like to acknowledge that group. And that would be Bill Travers, who came to North Catholic, went to Conwell Egan, and then went to North Penn. Bill Sabo started at North, went to Hatboro Horse, and then actually at Archbishop Bryan right now. To William Tennant, I'm sorry. No wonder you didn't do well. And Chuck Knowles, who I know coached at Conwell Egan and is now at Norristown as an AD. Joe Parisi, he was at North, is at LaSalle, and beats us in baseball, which I don't like. And also, these guys all had one thing in common, and that was that they could communicate with young people. And hopefully, our football coach this year, Charlie Silic, was here tonight. He's the coach for the private schools in the All-Star game this year. I think Charlie has that same skill that these gentlemen have, those communication skills. And also a fellow that I think I'm proud of too, even though he started wrestling at North and made us what we are today, and that's Pat Manzi, who is another inductee tonight. So I'm very proud of Pat Manzi. There are two ADs that I worked with all these years that are no longer, and that is Chris Scattergood, who used to be at Carroll, and Rich Kelly at Archbishop Wood. So these are all people that have been part of my life that have made me what I am today, and it's something I really enjoy. And I thank the association again. Thank you.
For a sign? For my son. That's the committee. The committee touch. We continue our theme of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball here tonight with a guy who actually I followed quite a bit a few years ago as a large basketball fan. One of the city's greatest, one of the best ever from St. Joe's Prep. Led the Prep to the 1971 Catholic League Championship, MVP of the Catholic League Southern Division, a parade high school All-American. Made his way down to College Park, played at the University of Maryland under Lefty Drizel, and had a tremendous career down there with the Terps. Became the 11th player in Maryland basketball history to score 1,000 career points at the very highest level of competition. His one-loss record there, 97 wins, 23 losses. Maurice was a two-time All-ACC player, an honorable mention All-American, and after his college career was completed, he was the 32nd draft pick in 1976 by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He also played in the NBA for the New Orleans Jazz and the Atlanta Hawks. After his career was over as a player, the game continued for Maurice Howard. Came back to the Prep and coached. Also worked with former Sixers coach John Lucas, and at that time worked in the area of skill development for players on the court and off the court. As we had a brief conversation about his academy, the PDS Academy assists kids on the court, in life skills, and in placing them in colleges. Let's welcome Maurice Mo Howard.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, ladies, gentlemen, honored guests, family, and friends. It is with great humility and pride that I stand before you today as a member of this Hall of Fame. I'm truly overwhelmed because, as a young person playing the game of basketball, it's the farthest thing from my mind is being inducted into a Hall of Fame. All I wanted to do was be the best player that I could be. That was it. But I'm going to piggyback on what Coach Doherty talked of, and that was giving gratitude and appreciation to all those who helped make this moment. You see, because I believe that good teams are spawned from the home. Good teams are spawned from the home. and I played on a very, very good team. I had a great mom and a great dad, self-sacrificing and vigilant. Didn't know I was poor till I went to college. Did everything for us, everything, protected us. They're not here today, but I know my father was somewhere beating his chest. Proud man, proud man. I had one brother whom I can honestly say, had it not been for him, I know athletically I never would have reached the heights that I did. This guy literally caught thousands of shots in the cold, in the rain, in the snow. He's not here either. I miss him also. But I did make a promise to him with our PDS Academy that I would always be involved in commitment to young people in tribute to him. Incidentally, there are some other people that I would like to mention at this time. Some people that I have not seen in a long time but happen to make it here tonight, and I'm very gratefully appreciative for you being here. Chaz McGee is here. Chaz McGee is the brother of Herb McGee, who was, and Chaz was my very first coach. Chaz was the first person to call me Mo. Okay? Well, I want you to know, Coach, that even though we were separated, I took you everywhere with me. I took you everywhere, and I want to thank you for that. Speedy Morris. Speedy was the first coach that I had help me understand intangibles of the game of basketball. Motivation, determination, pride. He taught those things to me. I didn't understand it. I was just running up and down like a loony bird. But he put all of those things into perspective for me, and I thank him for that. Eddie Burke. Eddie Burke, you see, I'm Philadelphia basketball royalty, okay? Eddie Burke. He was not only my coach, he was a friend, a father figure, and a great role model, and a genuinely good person. I love Coach Burke. Fred Douglas. Now, Fred Douglas followed Coach Burke at St. Joe's Prep after we had won the Philadelphia Catholic League Championship, which was hard enough, but he also was the first African-American coach to coach in the Philadelphia Catholic League. And I thank Coach Douglas for his courage, but I thank Coach Douglas mostly for keeping Phil Martelli as the point guard. I'd like to thank St. Joe's Prep, my St. Joe's Prep family, and the athletic staff. Now, even though I was a scoring champion in the Philadelphia Catholic League, there was one person that always brought out the best in me. I think of him as the class of the Catholic League during that time. His name is Michael Arison. Michael was a hard-nosed player, as hard-nosed a player as I've ever faced, and he forced me to bring out the best. We have been friends for some time now, Michael, and I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this lifelong friendship. My man. Coach Claude Gross and T. Shields from the Philadelphia Sunny Hill League. These guys taught me how to wait my turn, okay? And they didn't care what I thought. They just said, wait your turn. That was it. Coach Lefty Drizel. I can't say enough about Coach Drizel. He said a lot of things and did a lot of things that I didn't understand, but now I understand why he said and did the things that he did. Probably no man has had a greater impact on me in my life than Coach Drizel. And I will say this, Coach Drizel will be in the Hall of Fame one day, and I'll be there if I have to crawl. Mark D'Ambrosio. Mark, you've been like a brother to me. Mark is my partner in PDS. I love him like a brother. And I can remember thinking about that day we were in Bennigan's, Applebee's, you, Greg, and myself, and we talked about our commitment to young people. And you've helped me fulfill my commitment to my brother, Mark, and I want to thank you for that. Greg Gardner, George May, Eric Burke. You're great fathers, you're great coaches, you're great men, and I thank you for being such a good example for all our young people that we come in touch with. Mr. and Mrs. Lewis Fisher, Tony Sammartino, Jim Huggard, Gerald Merricks, Melvin Jones, Greg Bell, Armand Hill, Dave Henderson, Dan Leibowitz, Mr. and Mrs. Vince Miller, Jim Murray, and others, too numerous to mention. Many thanks on behalf of me and my family for all the kindnesses that you have extended to us over these years. PDS kids, stand up, let everybody see you. PDS kids, come on. Now, do you believe that I could play? Joanne, thank you for everything. Your courage and your strength has been an example to our family, and we love you all, always. And finally, to my beautiful children, Ashley, Ayana, and Kai, thank you for giving meaning to my life and substance. Pop-Pop, Grandma, Uncle G, Mom Brown are all very proud of what you've become, as I am. I love you with all my heart. Please never forget who you are and what we mean to each other. I love you. I love you. Thank you very much.
When you talk about communicating with young people and motivating them for success and understanding kids, their needs, their wants, how to bring the best out of them, certainly no one has done that better than Pat Manzi. Currently a teacher, athletic director, and head football coach at Bishop McDevitt High School. Began his coaching career 35 years ago. His list of accomplishments is numerous. His record as the head coach at Bishop McDevitt, 157 wins, 92 losses, 5 ties. Philadelphia Catholic League champions 3 times. Playoffs 22 out of 25 years. It's really hard to make the playoffs, too. Don't take that for granted. 3-time Philadelphia Catholic League Coach of the Year. Took his talents not for granted, extended them beyond the football field, and born the idea of wrestling and bringing that to the kids of this area, to the Philadelphia Catholic League. Started the wrestling program there. Continued that in the Philadelphia Police Athletic League. Introduced the youth program there. He's been a man who's been giving back to kids year after year after year and continues to do so. Let's welcome Pat Manzi.
First thing I need to kind of set the record straight. I was talking to Milt Holstead, and he told me the vote for Fran Doherty was unanimous. I'd like to congratulate all the inductees tonight, and considering their very impressive accomplishments, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for this indeed very special honor and privilege. I believe any time a coach is recognized, it's really a result in the contributions of many people. And I'd like the opportunity to thank so many people that have been a big part of my life. I was very fortunate to start my coaching career and my teaching career at North Catholic. I know there are many people in this room that know North Catholic is a special place. It doesn't take much. And it was especially that way 35 years ago. See, I had the opportunity to learn from one of the best. One of the night inductees, Fran Doherty, was the AD when I started there. And he created an atmosphere at North Catholic where a young coach could grow and learn, and a place where a coach wanted to be part of and wanted to coach and was proud to be there. And then I had the opportunity to learn from some of the best coaches that ever coached in high school. Larry Connie, Joe Malizia, Tony Constantino, Bill Travers, Bill Sable, Chuck Knowles, Joe Parisi, just to name a few. And I could not have learned from a better group of men. And certainly, and of course, most of all, I'd like to thank my wrestlers. Starting a wrestling program in the city was quite a challenge. And those young men without any previous experience had no points of reference about wrestling, couldn't talk to an older brother or a father for the most part. They went out and achieved remarkable success, pretty much on determination and hard work, and for the most part, guts. So I'd certainly like to thank them, because they certainly are the reason why I'm standing here. And then and of course, all my assistant wrestling coaches, Walt McElvain, Dr. Dave Coffey, Jerry Garzone, and so on. Obviously, no coach can do it alone. And then in 1982, I became the head football coach at Bishop McDevitt. The athletic director there was the late Jim Gibbons. Jim was certainly a special person who not only could you learn a lot about athletics and coaching, but certainly a lot about life. And there I had the opportunity also to grow with some truly outstanding coaches. The one I worked side by side with for 25 years, and I believe one of the finest coaches, 27 Catholic League championships. And that was Paul Poyes, our track coach. Absolutely. Doesn't get any better than that, folks. And of course, my assistant coaches, many who have coached with me for 20-some years, and I thank them for sharing this tonight. Jerry Fasano, Scott Powell, Mark Zadoveski, Carl Stout, Ed McKee's here. I'm missing everybody, all the coaches that are here. Oh, Dave McGuire. I keep thinking Dave is my player. It's hard to separate the two. And of course, again, at McDevitt, we faced an uphill challenge. When I was interviewed for the job, they told me they were considering dropping the football program at McDevitt because they weren't able to compete in a very difficult Catholic league, being one of the smallest schools in the league. But again, I had the fortune to coach some truly outstanding young men who achieved remarkable success, and I think their character speaks for itself, that so many of them here came tonight to share this evening with me. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And you are, without a doubt, the reason why I'm standing here. This is really a reflection on you and all the hard work that you did. So thank you very much for that honor. And of course, as was so eloquently mentioned by Fran Doherty and Mohara family, you really can't accomplish very much unless you have support of a wonderful family. And I certainly have had that. And they're all here this evening. That's a special honor for me. My brothers and sister, brothers-in-law, all right, sisters-in-law, thank you for always being there for me. My mother and father-in-law, who were as close to second parents as I could possibly get. I've known them for over 40 years. Bill and Eleanor Cheverelli, thank you. Okay. And of course, my family, all right, my two wonderful daughters, Valerie and Bridget, who are accomplished athletes in their own right. My future son-in-law, Chris. And I have to mention, there can be no peace at home, my granddaughter, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca, all right, for all you have done. And my stepmother, Joanne, thank you, all right, for all that you've done. And, of course, my wife, Kathy, who not only has put up with all the inconveniences and difficulties and time constraints that coaching does, but thank you for sharing it with me and being a part of it. I would never have done it without you and your willingness to make sacrifices, change your work schedule so I could coach. And last, I would like to thank my father. I'm glad I have the opportunity. My mother's no longer with me, but I'm sure she's sharing in this. But my dad, thank you for a wonderful foundation. And being a history teacher, I agree with Tom Broka's assessment. So he was part of the greatest generation. He was a major war hero in World War II, and for that matter, Korea and Vietnam. So he was one of the first Navy SEALs. What a role model. Dad, thank you, and thank everybody else.
Baseball was the name of the game, is the name of the game for Joe McDermott, an outstanding player at Roman Catholic, an all-Catholic selection in 1964 and 1965, played at St. Joseph's College, and then turned his attention to the coaching profession as a teacher at Father Judge High School. And in 30 years there, one of the most remarkable success rates of any coach in the history of Philadelphia. He won championships in 1976, 1982, 1985, 1987, and 2000. His overall Catholic League record, 349 wins and only 199 losses. Tremendous success his entire life. And tonight we honor Joseph McDermott. Let's welcome him, please.
I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me to the Hall of Fame. I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees and all the athletic directors out there who I tortured over my 30 years for playing too many games. I apologize, but that was only, I had to do it. The reason for my success has been all the talented players I've had. I've head coached for 31 years, and we've had 29 winning seasons. And there's no secret to coaching. If you have the talent, you're going to win. And the secret to my success has been the players I've had, the great assistant coaches, and a family that's been behind me 100%. My wife, Mary Lou, my two daughters who are both pregnant, expecting my first grandchildren. So on behalf of them and myself, I'd like to thank everybody.
Reading the bio of Marty Qualtieri is very interesting. And I say that because I look forward to his speech. He lost his parents at a young age. And I mean, that's a devastating thing for any young person to have to endure. He turned his attention to sports. And in many ways, we are here, in every way we're here, because sports is a salvation for us. It's a passion that we all have. It's something that we turn to for comfort, for our friends. In 1954, Marty entered Northeast Catholic High School for boys and played under the legendary coach in Philadelphia by the name of John Gillespie. He was a Catholic League MVP in 1956. He won the Maxwell Award, was voted to the All-Catholic and All-Scholastic teams, as well as being named Honorable Mention All-American. He went from there to the University of Alabama, where he played under Coach Paul Bear Bryant, another legend. And I can just imagine the influence that such great leadership had on his life. After returning from Alabama, he played semi-professional football, where his coach was former Philadelphia Eagle legend, Pro Football Hall of Fame member Steve Van Buren. So what a great opportunity in his life to have the ability to look up to those three men for guidance, for friendship, for leadership. Tonight we honor Marty, and let's please welcome him to the stand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to say some things about thanking people. The first thing, I want to thank God. I want to thank my family and my friends that I love so much. I want to thank my number one fan, Carmen Bertoni, Little Quad. And I want to thank North Catholic and its coaching staff, and especially my head coach, John Gillespie. was a great coach. And I want to thank my teammates. I couldn't have did it without them. And especially I want to thank the Pennsylvania Sports Authority. I'm sorry. I knew I'd make a mistake. Sports Hall of Fame. And City All-Star Chapter. Thank you very much for this great honor. And God bless.
Football's in my blood. So the next gentleman we're honoring is family. Someone I've actually had the privilege of meeting and certainly knowing his family. John Sandusky began his football career, his athletic career at South Philadelphia High School, was an all-city honoree in 1943, became an All-American at Villanova, played in the NFL 6 years in Cleveland, also in 1957 in Green Bay with the Packers, in 6 years with the Browns. He had 6 title game appearances and 3 championships. He learned how to win at an early age and carried that through his life. He was a coach with the Baltimore Colts from 1959 to 1972, with the Eagles from 73 to 75, and then worked 18 years with the Miami Dolphins and their great head coach, Don Shula. During his NFL career, he coached 5 players who went on to the NFL Hall of Fame. And after he retired in 1994, John took a job in coaching and starting a football program in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. John Sandusky passed away in 2006 at the age of 80. And tonight, we are honored to have his son, Jim Sandusky, here. Jim?
It's a privilege to speak on my dad's behalf. The first thing I know he would say is how honored he would be to be included with such an outstanding group of athletes. I live in Baltimore, so a lot of the bios I wasn't familiar with, but I'm very impressed, and I know my dad would just be absolutely honored to be included with everybody up here. I'd also like to thank the South Philly High Alumni Association for nominating Dad. Like I say, great honor for him. He spent more than 4 decades in the NFL and won numerous awards, but I can state unequivocally that this award would mean as much to him as any he ever received. My dad never changed from just being that big old South Philly guy who could do the mummer strut, just loved his family, loved the game, loved the people that were around him. This induction is special because all of the good fortune he experienced is rooted right here in Philadelphia. He enjoyed the big time, but that's not why he coached. Like all the gentlemen up here who are athletic directors and coaches, it's about the people. It wasn't necessarily about the game. That was just a medium for him to touch people and to have an impact on not only his family, but the extended family that were his players and the fellow coaches. And as his bio said, when he retired from the NFL, he coached for 4 years at a high school as an assistant coach. And I have to tell you, he was as enthused to do that as anything he ever did on the professional level or the collegiate level. He was just about the kids, he was about the game. And I can't tell you how proud I am of my dad. Now, his professional life was not the glory, it wasn't the glory, it was the people. The values he learned from his family, from his mentors at South Philly High and from Villanova University is represented by this award. That's what this is all about for him. And I have to tell you, he would absolutely love this, to be back in Philly and to be honored again with this cast up here. And this is really special. And our family is honored to have him inducted into the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. Now, I've never taken a public speaking course, and this is not something I do on a regular basis, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night,
I know that a good speech is a short speech, so thank you very much and congratulations to everyone. Thank you. Somehow Tom White started officiating before he was 20 years old. And that's amazing to me. I think somewhere along the way he stopped listening and hearing during the games, and he was focused on the action. What an incredible career for Tom White as an official who worked his way up through the ranks, started in professional football with the USFL, became an NFL official in 1989, and 16 years later, he had refereed 300 NFL games. He worked 44 years in the field, 44 years, and the action never passed him by. He retired after the 2005 season, now spends time in a family business and lives part of the year in Hawaii. He's here tonight. Let's welcome Tom White.
First off, I'd like to thank all the other honorees tonight. Their wonderful participation in the sport and their contributions. And on behalf of you guys, is honoring them with the awards this evening. My point about 44 years, I've been blessed. The Lord has truly blessed me in being able to do something that you thoroughly enjoy. It's not like people go out and do things, and most people go out and do something with part of their life that they don't like, but they're stuck in doing it. This is something that I was truly blessed and truly enjoyed all the time that I was privileged to do what I did do. I've had the privilege of working CYO and kids games and working at Roman Catholic Cahill Field. I can remember way back in the early 60s with a guy named Joe Vetter who ran that thing, and they used to have a thing called the Tournament of Champions, which was a lot of fun. I did some high school football, college football. Give you an idea maybe on my age. Is I happened to do a college football game with Syracuse and University of Washington with a guy named James, who was the coach, and Warren Moon, who was the quarterback. And then happened to see Warren Moon again in Houston in the NFL. So that puts me back in prehistoric times, I think. With regards to the officiating, I'd like to thank the people who are here, who I've had the privilege of officiating games with, coaches who I've worked some games for. My career in professional football, actually the first contact came in 1970 when the NFL created a job called a clock operator. Somebody runs that stadium clock up there for you. And I was privileged to do that for many years, and as you said, the USFL and then the NFL. I got a chance to work in the NFL for a person who I think has absolutely impeccable integrity and honesty. They go hand in hand. There's a guy named Art McNally who was the supervisor of the officials at that time. He's an outstanding human being. I'd like to thank Jim Quirk, who's here, who was on my very first crew. He was a line judge then, and then they changed him to an umpire, and he got stuck with me as on my crew for 8 years. He was a very good man, and he does an outstanding job. Another gentleman who came here tonight from North Carolina, who is a tremendous human being, is a guy named Bob Loing, who's a back judge in the league and does a nice job. And another person who was on my crew is a guy named Ed Camp. Bill Reynolds is back there. Ron Marinucci. It's a close-knit group. Obviously it has to be, because all you guys want to kill us every Sunday. You don't like too many things we do. And one other thing I would like to say, I'd like to thank my family, my brothers and my sisters, Jimmy and his wife Phyllis and their son Gregory, my sister Kathy and her 2 children who are here, Callie and Johnny, Rita and David, who's their son David's here, and my sister Barbara and Michael's here. Just remember this name. And I might be way off base on this, but just remember this name someday, Michael Palmer. He's going to be a good athlete. Thank you.
when you look at the dais here, and this is a Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, and our final inductee this evening is the lone man who's not born and raised in Philadelphia, but if you even paid any attention to the Philadelphia Phillies and you said the name Bobby Wine, oh yeah, Bobby Wine, sure, Philly guy. I think that's probably the greatest honor that anyone in Philadelphia can say to someone not born in Philadelphia. Bobby was born in the Bronx. He played with the Phillies from 1962 to 1968, earned a Gold Glove in 1963, very distinguished career as a player. Then he began the phase of coach in Major League Baseball, was the bench coach for the Phillies in 1972 through 1983. And during that time, of course, the Phillies were World Series champions, a time which we all remember. Since 1984, Bobby has worked with the Atlanta Braves. Well, hey, he's doing a pretty good job as an advanced scout. They just swept the Phillies, right? So somebody's doing something right. This year marks Bobby Wine's 50th year in baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, as our final inductee of the evening, let's welcome Bobby Wine.
Bobby, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, my turn. Here we go. 1, 2.
Got it? Got it. Maurice. Got it. Maurice.
Okay.
Suite box 33 if you want to go up to a game, Maurice. Anyway, guys, thanks for making me last again. It's W works that way, I know that. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for the honor of being elected to the Hall of Fame. I never thought I'd be in any Hall of Fame, but I got elected to the Montgomery County Hall of Fame and now the Philadelphia Hall of Fame, and that's quite an honor for a 200 hitter. And the score was 8-4 too, and the Braves did win. Well, they pay me. Anyway, I'd like to thank, first of all, my family. My wife, Fran, and my daughter, Beth, and Kenny is here, and Shaylin, my daughter-in-law, and Mackenzie. Stand up, you're from Oklahoma, let everybody see you. And her husband can't be here because he's in Iowa. He's the baseball coach of Penn State University, so they're out on a road trip playing a game. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up, all my friends from baseball heaven to World Olds to all the people that I've been associated with over the years in Philadelphia, being a transplant, Ralph and Lisa and Trippy and Marlene and Gene, my son-in-law, and everybody else involved with friendship. Dallas is sitting over there, and we were talking about taking care of kids, and I think we had that in 1980 for a while. We had a few kids there we took care of, Boa and Schmidt and Maddox and a few of those guys, except they were making $5 million. But we babysat them and we got them through, and that was probably the greatest honor I think anybody could ever come up with, is winning a World Series. And when you guys had that parade for us down there, it was something that I don't think anybody will ever forget. It was the greatest thrill in my baseball life. I have to acknowledge Larry Schenk over there, because he's probably coming up on 50 years in baseball too, and he looks it. My good friend Bing Miller and Tony Leodora from Norristown, who I've known since I got in the area and been friends for forever and ever. It's just it's amazing thing that someone that isn't from this area, that we talk about all these high school and college teams that all these guys coach for, that I was an outsider, and be honored to be part of your organization, and it's quite a thrill. Thank you very much.
Well, it's coming to a close. Thank God. Someone didn't pick up their letter from the Maxwell Football Club for the prize that they won. I have it up here. If you could please come and get it, we'll give it to you. I'm up here just for one big reason, and I guess talking helps. Is Fred Shabel still here? Okay, he left. Fred Shabel, through the Comcast Spectacor Corporation, Sixers, Flyers, whatever else they own, Sportsnet, the whole thing, gave us $5,000 tonight.
Wow.
Along with that, we picked up 12 life members. And I want to give these 4 to Kathy Daly. They're for her husband and her 2 sons. They took out lifetime memberships, plus a few other people. So it's been successful. I want to give a great round of applause to Dave. He does a great job. He doesn't know it. He'll be back next year. I just informed him. Again, I want to thank you. I want you to have a safe trip home. But before you get up and leave, I'm going to bring Mr. Murray up to do the benediction. I want to thank you all for coming. I want you to keep supporting the Hall of Fame. Become members, contributions, any way you can. Thank you, and God bless you.
Blessed are you, O Lord our God. You have showered us with all good gifts. We thank you for the many gifts of this day. For the men and women who have gathered here tonight, we have come together to celebrate athletic achievement, dedication, loyalty, and most of all, to celebrate the tradition of Pennsylvania athletics. Lord, you give us so much that is good. We ask you to continue to bless our organization. Bless us with a real sense of gratitude, for we know that nothing is possible without you. Keep us focused on honoring men and women who have made a very real difference in this world. And lastly, Lord, we pray for peace in a world that must give you some very real concern over how we live and treat one another. Lord, watch over us and give us safe home. We ask all of this in your name, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, John.